Hey everyone, TrainGuy1969 here. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to take a look at this really unique lash-up. This starting here is featuring a L-class locomotive in the Western Australian Government Railway livery. This particular model is HO scale and it is a DCC ready model. The company that makes these Haskell is based out of Taiwan, and they tend to focus in on Taiwanese and Australian locomotives. This particular livery and locomotive from the 1970s and early 1980s would have been featured on the Australian transcontinental railway known as the Indian Pacific. So when I saw this, I thought it was really unique. I love the colors, love the design. I also thought it was pretty cool, the idea of having an Australian locomotive and an Australian transcontinental locomotive and set at that. I did pick up a number of rail cars for this particular set. Unfortunately, they're not the ones that are built specifically for this Indian Pacific Railway. They're pretty expensive to get and pretty hard to find. So I just went and bought a number of Bud rail cars that are just silver in color, very similar to what you would see on the Indian Pacific, and I decided that that would be close enough for my particular version of that train. And we'll get that lashed up in a little bit, but right now let's take a closer look at this beautiful locomotive. As you can see, pretty nice detail. Yeah, it's got the running lights and the ditch lights. It's got the cables, knuckle couplers. The paint job is just second to none. It's beautifully detailed, very crisp lines, bright colors. We look at the top. You can see that the exhaust is not molded in. There's actual fans within it. You can see the rivets on the side. Nice detail. Of course, it does have directional lighting, both front and back. Beautifully done. Something you don't see all the time. Very nicely built. So we're going to get it back to the track. We'll get it lashed up to the Bud rail cars that I picked out, and we'll see how this locomotive runs around the track. We'll be right back. So laid out here before you are a number of the Bud rail cars that I purchased. These are all IHC models, so not the most prototypical or the most detailed, but the best price. You can see that they are just plain silver. Very similar to what you would actually see on the Indian Pacific Railway. The only difference is on the Indian Pacific, I believe on the ones from the 1970s, 80s, it would have said Railways of Australia across the top portion here. And on the modern version of this transcontinental train, which still runs to this day, they have a sign on the side that says Indian Pacific. So I bought a number of these, I think 7 in total. There's sleeper cars, there's dining cars. I've got some just passenger coaches. There's even an observation car, which is a little bit out of prototype, because if I'm looking at the information that I found on the Indian Pacific, they never did use an end observation car. I think they just finish it off with something very similar to a coach, but this was part of the set that I purchased, so I'm going to include it. So we're going to get these all lashed up. We'll get it running and put together with our L-class locomotive, and we'll run them around the track and take a look and see how well this beautiful consist, this Australian passenger train looks. Be right back. And we are back at the station with our L-class locomotive lashed up to our rail cars. So this is my version of Australia's Indian Pacific. So we're going to get her up and running around the track, see how well she pulls, and we'll bring it back in and take a closer look at all the detailed parts. And here we go. A little bit of squeak coming from these cars. Going to have to get them lubed and cleaned up a little bit. But it has no problems at all pulling this small consist. We'll get it going a little bit quicker. A little bit of a glitch there in the power, but she's up and pulling it nice and strong. It's got really nice bright LED lights. And a beautiful looking consist in the Western Australia Government Railways livery. And you'll notice when it comes around again that even the back lights have got the red marker lights on the back. You can see those red marker lights. Beautiful looking consist, a unique addition to my collection. And we'll bring her back in. And as I said, this is a DCC unit, or sorry, a DCC ready unit. It does have a little bit of an interior, not sure if you can see that in there. But a beautiful looking train all along. Just absolutely gorgeous. Perhaps someday I'll get a more modern locomotive for the Indian Pacific. But until such a time, I'm quite happy with the one that I have here. So we'll get her up and running one more time around the track. I do hope you enjoyed this video. I appreciate you coming and looking. If you're not subscribed, please do. If you are a subscriber, thanks so much for coming back. Take care and have yourselves a great rest of your day.